Now we're back. Hey, my light went out again. This is kind of a short thing here. I don't know what is going on here. So hopefully you guys are having fun. Like I said, this is a different format than we usually do. We usually raid each other. I did see a raid come in. I think it was from Indy, so I appreciate that, Indy. Thank you so much. I don't know why the Stream Elements is not working so well. For unknown reasons, it does not want to send out anything. Thanks for being part of Blessing Boat. I have to actually create another link to Blessing Boat to invite people. This will obviously expire, so make sure if you want to be part of our group and maybe be in the next Blessing Boat. The next Blessing Boat is actually on the 8th, I believe, May 10th. So if you want to apply, make sure you do. You can apply at our website, blessingboat.com, which is here. And this is the new website. Hopefully you guys like it. I just basically built it last Saturday and kind of tweaking it. And I used to actually do websites, believe it or not, way back when. Actually, when I had my son, that's what I used to do to make some income, and I did pretty well, actually. I had a lot of companies. I actually worked with a company, a bigger developer, and I had a big job. It was like, I think it was $80,000 at that time. So I made a good commission on that from my friend who is the developer, but I guess they worked for Heinz Ketchup. So they're a distributor of Heinz Ketchup. So that was a pretty big deal. And there was things that he could do that I had no clue on. I mean, I did things back when I was, you guys, and this is going to take me way back, maybe you guys way back, called, what is it called? I forgot. Front Page. That's how I basically created my business in Front Page, and I went to local businesses and let them know, hey, websites are going to be important in the future. You know, you might want to take a look at it. You don't have a website, you know, I can help you build one, type of thing. So that's what I did while taking care of my son. So that was kind of a cool experience for at least, I think it was almost a year. And then my wife decided that she wanted to come home and spend time with him too. So that was kind of nice. I've always been kind of independent. I've never really technically had a job where I had to actually go somewhere and fight traffic. I mean, I had a couple of them that way, but I don't like that kind of thing. I like doing what I want to do when I want to do it and not worry about traffic, because traffic here is crazy. So what's Warrior? What, you're saying something? You have settings set where anyone except mod set. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I can look at, like I said, this, I got this taken over by Tony. He wasn't able to make it here today because he had problems with his internet. So I had to run the show, or run the event. I don't want to say show. I don't like saying show. Add SE as a mod. Oh, you mean go into? Hold on, I got to bring in my other guest though, and it's almost time. I forgot the order. My goodness. It is my good friend, and I think isn't it Donnie Dreams? You need to go to my website to find out. So how do you guys like the website? Is it kind of cool? Looks better. Yep. Oh, it's me, actually. I'm talking, so we don't have to worry about switching over. So I guess I'm going to be answering my own questions. I was actually trying to fill this spot with somebody else, but it didn't happen. So and like I said, it was a rush this last week. Actually, I did most of this all in 4 days. So if I can set you up as a mod, I'll do that right now. So I got to go into the actual account and go into Moderation. No, not moderation. I've done this for a long time. Rules manager. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to add you. So it's SE, you said? No. It's supersonic. Man, you know how many supersonics there? But you're saved by grace. Okay, here we go. All right, I'm adding you. All right. You have now control. Yeah, I have a whole bunch of people on there. You know, Jelly is there, but she's working, and Tony is here. He can help out, but I don't know if he's available. Ukulele's here. Christian Ninja is not here, so chat mod statement stream elements. Okay. Oh, so you can actually go in there and change it. I didn't know that. There you go, sir. Does that help? Cool. Then you can help me set it up. It's set up already, but for some reason it doesn't let me go to the link, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong there. They must have changed something in there, because when I did it way back when in my stream, I didn't have any problems with it. So I can do the command. I don't even know what the commands are now. I need to look. User model. Because I had it under counters and I had it under commands. Yeah, so I had. So this should work now. Oh, look at that. You are amazing. You're a legend. Awesome. I don't have any more. Well, I have this. If you guys want to help out financially, you can. I don't want to keep on putting links in here, but here we go. This is the one for the contest. All right. We are in business. Thank you so much. All right. So, yeah, this is going to be a weird one. I'm going to interview myself. Too bad I don't. Oh, you know what? I could put. I should have had him in. I don't know if you guys know who Smallito is. Oh, what do I call that? I'm looking for it. There it is. As I open it up, you will see Smallito come to life. He is pretty dope. Calling him my sidekick. For those that don't know, I had a beautiful. Oh, you know what? I don't think it's. Wait, yeah, it will, because I'm using Mexican kid. I just gotta put that on. There we go. It should pop up. There he is. So this is Smallito. He's my sidekick. But yeah, for those that don't know, I had a, what do you call it? A tragedy that happened. Actually, two tragedies that happened on the same week last year. I can't remember exactly the date. I think it was September, October. I think it was October. Tuesday of that week, I usually at 9 o'clock my time, I usually take out my dog, which was a husky, and I played with him before for an hour in our property, and he was perfect, fine, happy, doing everything dogs do. And 9 o'clock rolls around, and I want to take him out to the walk, so we start walking. I walk around. We have this like city park or park that you can walk around. It's like probably 2 blocks or so around the whole thing, and so I would circle that like 6 times. And for my health reasons, right? And he was always with me, and all of a sudden I see him walking, and he's like, almost like he's drunk. He's kind of going back and forth like this. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And all of a sudden he collapsed. I'm like, Balto, what's going on? Come on. And he shakes it off and gets back up on his feet and walks another probably 100 yards and then collapses again. I'm like, dude, what's going on? And I'm basically crying as a man, but it was so horrible. Because then all of a sudden I see him foaming at the mouth. I'm like, are you kidding me? What is going on? What is going on? What is going on? Praying God, don't let anything happen to him. But unfortunately, I showed the video to my brother-in-law. He rushed over here and we picked him up, rushed over my wife and son. Couldn't do anything, just picked him up and put him in the truck and went to the veterinarian, but because it was late, all the veterinarians that we usually go there close to us were closed, so we had to go further out into the city. And by the time we got there, he was dead. And we found out he had a heart attack. And that is very rare for any dog to have, but for some reason he did. And it totally blew my mind because I really loved him. He was a purebred husky. We got him from a friend of ours, actually my wife's friend, who was a friend in high school, actually, said that they had a husky available. So we're like, yeah, let's get it. We got a good deal on him. He's no longer with us. He's out in doggy heaven. If dogs do go to heaven, I sure hope they do. But it was pretty devastating. Did not like it at all. But it was what it was, and we just basically said goodbye to him. I didn't like burying him. That was the worst. Slight. So if you guys have had a dog and died, you know how devastating that can be. I had other dogs that obviously died, and this one was just more of a shock because, according to what I read, you don't have dogs dying out of heart attack. It was just like, now lucky I have another husky, but he's mixed, so I still, oh man, this thing. Sorry about that. It's like goes black on me, dark on me. It's like it's not connecting right. I don't want to be in the dark. Okay, let's try it again. There we go. I can't get close to that cord for some reason. Your parents have black lab border collie mix, yeah. Yeah, dogs are fun. I mean, I grew up with a dog. I had actually a smaller breed when I grew up called a Spitz. They actually come out of Japan. I think Bushido would like that. But he was a very small white dog, and he lived for at least 13 years. And then we found him with a bloated stomach. And then the other dogs that I had was when I moved into St. Paul, Minnesota. We had two of them. My wife really liked Shar-Peis, so we were able to find a good deal on a Shar-Pei. And it came with a brother, but that brother wasn't a Shar-Pei. We had them in our yard, and I think it was after church or something. We came there and we couldn't find them, and we had a high fence, so there's no way they could, jump out or dig under in anything. And we noticed that the gate was opened and kind of destroyed from the back end, so somebody stole them. And that's the only dog stories I have. But it's sad when you lose any kind of pet. Hey, Warrior Truth, welcome, Samarilla. Oh, you blacked out? Oh no. Hope you're doing okay. Lord, I pray for Samarilla, Lord. I pray that you would help her with whatever health challenges she's having right now. And we appreciate that she came in to Dino Dads and asked some really hard questions. And we pray that that situation would be solved, that you would take away that individual from her life, or be able to allow her to live a regular life without him. we really appreciate her being here and being able to do all that. Wow, we met the follower goal of 470 people. Thanks for the follow. Blessing Boat is growing. We appreciate that. We only started this like 2 years ago, so we really appreciate every follows that you do. We are not, oh, I did it again. We are not a affiliate yet, because what happens is when you do a raid into another stream, obviously that doesn't count for you as far as hours go. So we are short hours. We have enough on the average and we have enough on the follower count, but we don't have enough on the hours. So we are working on a plan of action to be able to do that. The reason why we didn't want to become an affiliate way back when was because we realized we cannot do multi-streams. Now, of course, that has changed, and so we are, I guess, pushing for an affiliate. We've helped a lot of people get affiliate except ourselves, so it's kind of a weird story, right? Hello, Warrior of Truths. Welcome. Nice to see you here. Your head feels heavy. I think it'll be best if I step off for now. Yeah, no problem. Take care of yourself, Samarilla. Definitely keep you in prayers. Okay, I'm going through all the interesting. Hey, Kyra, welcome. The chat, I'm trying to keep up with it, so I apologize if I'm a little bit slow. All right, so I'm going to interview myself because obviously I am on live now, and my name is Preston. I'm Warrior of Light. I started out streaming almost 5 years ago now, and I had no idea what streaming was about. I mean, I didn't even know what Twitch was about, to be honest with you. The only how I got into it all was my son was playing or was watching somebody on Twitch, and I went into his room and I said, "What are you watching? You're watching somebody playing a video game?" He goes, "Yeah, it's Twitch. You should watch it." And I'm like, "Okay." So I watched it with him, and this guy, unfortunately, was swearing up a storm, saying that sex was okay before marriage, saying drugs, you can experiment, all this stuff. And I'm like, son, no, we're not going to do this. He says, "Dad, it's not bad." I go, "Yes, it is. It's very bad. I don't want you to be in it." And all of a sudden, in my head popped, well, if there are these people out here that are teaching kids and other people, adults, keep on going back to that cord. I got to keep my hands away from there. There must be Christians. That time it didn't do anything. There must be Christians out there. And I did some research and I found out there were. And it was funny because at the time, a friend of mine back in Minnesota, we were going to start a business, and it was going to be kind of a unique business idea where we actually created a VR community for Christians, but obviously we'd have it open for believers and non-believers alike. And it was a city that you could explore. You could own a place and, buy a car and go to work. And there was a lot of cool things that were forming. The guy that was my friend and still is, he is brilliant in programming, so we had this whole plan of action of how to build a Christian VR community, and it didn't work out, unfortunately, but what it did is it led me to look at Christian streamers. So I went and I searched out Christian streamers on Twitch. I think I Googled them. I know I found Pastor Dutzen. I found, oh my gosh, my mind is not here. Eagle Garrett and some other ones. And I'm like, wow, they are Christian. They're talking about Christ. They're still playing a video game. They have viewers. This is interesting. So I decided to interview them, and I did. And we had good conversations with them and asked them, why did you start streaming? What was the purpose of it? How much does it cost to stream? All these other things. And I got into it, and then I said, well, you know what? Maybe I should become a streamer. So that's what I basically did. Happy weekend, Kyra. Sex is a very emotional thing. It's a soul tie. Sex should only be with your one true love. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm blessed that I didn't sleep around in high school. I could have. A lot of girls approached me and wanted to, and I'm like, nope, sorry, I'm a Christian. My story is kind of not like in your face type of, where I was in drugs and I was doing promiscuous things with women, and I was a pretty good kid. 13 years old, I accepted Christ. I don't know the exact date, but I think it was in the fall time, because there was a church house, or a house that was made into a church, a really big house that was made into a church, and they invited everybody in the neighborhood to be part of it. And my mom at the time was looking for a church. My father never went to church. So we went this one evening, and it was pretty interesting because it was weird for me to be part of like a community, if you will. And you had all the parents, bring their kids, and the parents would go into the main room, and then all the kids got shuffled up to the top room. And, I didn't know anybody. I mean, we were neighbors, but we didn't really hang out together. So, and it was a big neighborhood. I mean, it was actually a neighborhood across from our neighborhood. So I don't know how we got the flyer to go there. But when we arrived, obviously there was a guy who was talking about Jesus, and then, I know Jesus because my mom was a Christian. She read the Bible all the time. She, prayed all the time, and I followed her example. But I never really accepted Christ until I went to this thing, because number one, I saw kids my age accepting Christ, and number two, I basically got the hell scared out of me, because he did fire and brimstone type of preaching. So I was scared to go to hell. I was really scared to go to hell. I'm like, no, I do not want to go to hell. Whatever I do not want to go to hell. And at that moment, obviously, I accepted Christ, and a lot of things changed in me. I wasn't as angry as I was before. So I wasn't a bad kid, but I did have that as a challenge, and I still do to this day, unfortunately. But it was extreme, temper tantrum type of stuff. I don't know if I had ADD, or I never got tested, so it's possible. Everybody says your mind is working a million miles per hour, and I go, yeah, it's probably because I have that. But I never tested for it, never got on Ritalin or any of the drugs that they give you nowadays. So, but anyways, I didn't really get into like a relationship with Christ until 1985, I believe it was. There was a conference in Washington, D.C. called Youth Congress 85. And I went, and I was absolutely shocked. Before I went to another event called Rocky Mountain Getaway. It was actually sponsored by, what was it called? Student Venture. And it was a high school ministry of Campus Crusade for Christ, which I guess now is called Cru. But anyways, they invited me. I went. I raised the money. I actually took my brother too. But the Washington, D.C. one was different, because I was in the nation's capital, and I don't know how many kids were there, probably 20,000 kids at this conference, and it totally changed my life. And I'm like, wow, I'm going to live for Christ. And I think I was 15 at the time. And then I went back to high school. A couple of my friends were passionate about, creating a Bible study inside of the school. And we had a lot of flack, because a lot of people said, no, you can't do that. No, that's not allowed. It's, church versus state. Can't have church inside of a state organization like a school. And we fought it. Even before the internet, we found some rulings, and I can't remember what the, verse was, something verse something. I think it was White verse something. And they indicated that we could have Bible study. And why that was so important is because the principal of the school said, well, legally now you can have it. You fought me. You won. However, because of this fact, I'm going to put together a gathering as well. I said, well, that's fine. That's great. I thought, great. We'll have 2 Christian events at the school. And it wasn't that way. He was a Satanist. So he basically formed a Satanist group that met in the afternoons. We met in the mornings. I think we met only once a week, and I think they met more than once a week. But, there was a lot of conflict back and forth. A lot of people were saying, well, why are Satanists, out here? And, I'm like, well, I can't stop them. They can assemble too, just like us. So let's just leave them be. And a lot of them actually came into the Bible study, and at least 3 people that I know to this day are Christians now and good friends of mine, because of the fact that we did something that most people didn't think of or didn't want to think of. So that was kind of cool to see that. But God has been moving in my life on that. I did a lot of networking. I don't know if you guys are in the business, but there's a networking thing called BNI, and it's like a Business Network International where I was part of, and I liked it, but it was too structured for me. And so I said, no, I don't like this, and I got involved with another networking group, and I became the president of it. We grew from basically 1 person to, I think we had 50 at the time, and that was really working out well. But then I'm noticing that the people that are coming in, they're Christian, and I'm thinking, I wonder if I could have a Christian-based networking group. So we created a Christian group called Seekers First, and we basically, I worked with my church, and I said, I noticed that we don't have a business directory. Can we make a business directory? And that was when it was really hard to make business directories, with whatever tools we had back then. But we made a business directory, so we found out, those that own businesses could be in this directory in their church, and we handed it out so people could obviously go to us as opposed to somebody else who doesn't believe. And it grew our businesses, so it was real cool. I had guest speakers coming in once a month, talked about, like authors or other individuals. So I did that for a while, and then moved to a third world country where my wife was from. And before that, I actually had formed a Christian networking group too. We basically met all the time. So we had the Christian networking group, and then we had the Christian networking group with events. So I have been pretty much taking, and I think maybe this is God's gift for me, taking things from the world and turning it into Christian. So the same thing happened with me when I was streaming, right? I saw a lot of people streaming, a lot that weren't Christian, and of course I was following those that were Christian. And I saw something in Facebook, and I noticed that they were Christian gamers, and I'm like, okay, well, we're gamers that happen to be Christians, so it shouldn't be that big of a surprise. But he formed a group on Facebook, so I joined, and I started talking to him. And I actually, if Jelly's still here, she knows the story. I said, man, I should really talk to him, and maybe we should get involved, and we did. I learned a lot from him, and then I had met a guy from, I don't know if it was Portugal. I don't think it's Portugal, but he was a really cool singer, and he was streaming on Twitch. And I started talking to him, and we found out that he was part of another organization, kind of like what Indy, was part of, where they basically have a whole bunch of people that are trying to become an affiliate. And I looked at it, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. I should join. But then it's like the Spirit convicted me and says no. And the reason is because you can bring in people that don't believe and don't have any knowledge of Christ or God or anything. The problem is you got to raid out to another person that, you can show their love, but there's a challenge with the people that are watching. They're, not going to be probably edified. They're not going to edify Christ. They're not going to edify anything in their lives. It will be the same thing that my son was watching. And so I decided not to. But I asked a lot of questions, and I asked, and prayed about it, and I'm saying, why can't we have something like that for Christians? So what happened in the course of 9 months, basically, I became an affiliate. Actually, on this date, I think it is. This is my streamversary, I think it is. Not only for Blessing Boat, but for me. Actually, I think it's mine now, because I went affiliate 4 years ago, and then I launched Blessing Boat 2 weeks later. And we were just, trying to average like 3 viewers per hour. And for those that don't know what Blessing Boat is, we basically start out on Blessing Boat. We did it differently back then, but we started out and had a, streamer for an hour, 55 minutes or so, and then we would raid the next person in line. Now we're going back to Blessing Boat because we want to obviously give information of the sponsors that we work with and other people that are part of the organization that are helping us, doing shout outs, doing videos and stuff like that, and then we go back to the next person in line. So it's kind of like a raid train all day long. So if you're new here, thank you for being here. That's what we've been doing for 4 years, almost every month. If you are a streamer and you are not an affiliate, please be free to go to blessingboat.com and learn more. You can join, put up the application. Our first priority is obviously helping the non-affiliates become affiliate. And so if you are not affiliate, please let us know so we can put you on the schedule first. We'll give you the time and dates that are available. The next one, I believe, is on, what did I say before? 10th? Yep, 10th of May, which is next month after Easter. So we're going to be planning that out. I think we have like 5 already that have signed up. And we vet you, we ask you some questions, so make sure that you're not going to take over the stream and do something that you shouldn't be doing. We want to make sure that you're Christian. We want to make sure that you are not going to swear on stream, or even the games that you play, make sure they're family friendly. So in any case, that's kind of my story. That's how I got started in this whole idea of Blessing Boat. I guess, is there any other questions? Because obviously I have a half hour left. I went through it pretty quick, but I don't see any chat coming in. So how did I meet my wife? Oh, wow. Well, that's an interesting story in itself, but we'll go through it. I was part of a bunch of friends that got together on almost every Friday having a party, not party with beer, root beer. And we would just hang out, Christian kids. We were part of the family that was there, had 2 boys. One was a good friend of mine, and the mom and dad allowed us to come over every weekend just to hang out, which was a good thing because, kids usually go out to the malls or get in trouble, and we were able to be in a Christian environment. So we hung out, got to know each other, just basically played board games all the time, and it was a lot of fun. And all of a sudden, my good friend, he said, hey, I'm going to go to Honduras. And I went, okay, why are you going to Honduras? Oh, it's a mission trip. I go, oh, okay, cool. And I've never been on a mission trip, so I had no idea. I just knew that he was going to have a time to be able to meet people and help people with whatever project we were going on at the time. So I said, okay, go ahead. I'll pray for you. Make sure that you have a good time and you can return safely. Because obviously I heard that it's a third world country. There's a lot of crime. There's a lot of things going on. It's not recommended to go here. And I said, well, I hope you come back. I pray you come back. And he did come back. And he said, well, guess what? I met a girl. I went, oh, met a girl. Well, everybody meets girls when you're single. He goes, no, I met a girl that I fell in love with, and I'm going to marry her. I go, really? You're not going to marry anyone from the U.S.? No, I'm going to marry her. I went, but you don't even know the language. He goes, yeah, I know. I'm teaching myself. And he did. I mean, he was ferocious at learning how to speak Spanish. And I think it was a year later he got married. And so he invites me to this wedding, and I'm like, oh, do I really want to go to a wedding way out there? And I told him I didn't have the money, and I didn't. And he's like, I'll pay for half of it. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll go. And, I've always been attracted to women that are dark complected, that have dark black hair, brown eyes. So he knew, the kind of woman or girl I like. And I think he kind of knew that this girl that they were friends with might like me. So I went to the wedding, and my future wife was there, and she was organizing the wedding. And we went to her home after the rehearsal, and for whatever reason, I went into the kitchen and started cleaning up dishes because no one else was doing it. And I thought, well, this is a mess. We got to deal with this. And I cleaned dishes, and I don't know why, but I did. And that impressed her mom and her dad, and impressed her, I guess. And we started hanging out. And I still remember the day that we were out because we went to the beach before the wedding. And I grew up in Minnesota, so I think I learned swimming when I was like 5 years old, or maybe less. And I went out to the ocean, and I ducked her under the water. And my friend's going, "Are you crazy? She doesn't know how to swim. You're going to kill her." So I left her up, and I apologized profusely, and she wasn't too happy about it. But we got to know each other, and she was going to school in Tennessee, I believe it was. Yep, Tennessee King's College. And we would be writing each other back and forth almost daily. I'd be working like the 5-state area, doing a lot of driving and going to hotels and setting up jobs for companies that I think I was selling advertising at the time. And I would, write these big novels. I mean, I would send this letter, and it was like probably 15 to 20 pages of, if a dog walked across the street, I would tell her about it. And so we got to know each other by letters, and then obviously we spent a lot of time on the phone, which hit me hard when I got the bill. Like, oh my goodness, I'm spending too much time. And then, I don't know, for whatever reason, God said, this is the woman, this is the one you should marry. And I married her. And it wasn't a big wedding or anything like that. She was still in school, so I invited her over. She actually lost her sponsorship, so she was going to be shipped back to the country. And I said, no, let's get together. I got something I want to talk to you about, and proposed to her. So we have been married for quite some time now. So that's how I met. So how would you introduce traditional churches to gaming or Twitch, who may not be familiar and have negative reputation to them? That's a good question, and I'm trying something this time around for the 4 years. Even though it was late, I actually reached out to about 300 churches in the Baptist community, inviting them here. I think a lot of churches, I heard that a lot of Baptist churches are actually now converting to the fact that it's okay to play video games and be a Christian. I think the Southern Baptist first did that, but I'm not totally sure. There's a lot of Baptist churches out there, and they're very conservative mostly, but it's interesting that a lot of my friends here grew up Baptist as well. But I think the whole idea is I was just part of the church.digital. So if you want to learn more about that, go to the church.digital. If somebody wants to put that in, 5 Luces. It would be really, really cool for you to get involved with. They're really trying to share with regular churches that there is a digital ministry. And we know when I first got into this with Blessing Boat, and even when we were doing the community, I found out that 1/3 of the population are playing video games. Well, I don't know about you guys, but that's a lot of eyeballs. A third of the world. That means close to 3.5 billion people play video games. I don't know what the other people are doing, probably going to concerts and watching movies and watching TV, all the entertainment. I mean, everybody knows that video games are the largest industry combined of all the other entertainment industries out there. So this is, the whole thing about it is, in our website, and I've said this before, is, Luke 10:2, is very important, is the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. So therefore, pray to the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into his harvest. And I believe that's what we're doing. I want more and more Christians to become streamers. I feel that it's better to have one streamer with a smaller audience as opposed to one streamer with a huge audience, right? Because as you get more and more smaller streamers going, that audience is going to grow, and each individual kind of has the responsibility anyways. As we say, we're believers, we need to reach out to the lost. Only you as a streamer can do that. When people come in and start talking to you. And we've had some really interesting things on my stream. I mean, I had Satanists come in when we were playing Jackbox. I didn't know what I was doing, and they did, obviously. And they basically took over the stream. And they drew some pretty bad pictures. And so we kicked them out and got them out of there. But experiences like that, you're like, oh, should I keep on doing this? I had one, for the longest time, I used to play Fishing Planet. I think it was Fishing Planet. Yeah, it was Fishing Planet. And there was a gentleman, or a kid actually, that came in there and said, hey, I can help you with, finding the right poles and finding the right combination of lures, finding the spots where the fish are. I can help you get a boat. And it was very much a grindy game. But I loved it. It was fishing. I love fishing. It's one of those things that have always been a passion for me ever since I was 5 or 6 or something like that, when my dad brought us out to vacation and out on a boat. That was just, for me, it was just blissful and peaceful. And when you catch a fish, it's really cool because all of a sudden they're like, fighting against you and you're trying to get them in and stuff. So it's kind of that adrenaline. And you can't feel that obviously on a video game, but it was nice to be able to go virtually. Anyways, long story short, he taught me a whole bunch of stuff. We became, good associates, good friends. And also one time he came into my stream, and this was a few years back now, and he says, I have a big stomach ache. It's really hurting. And I went, well, let's pray for you. And so we prayed for him. And I said, is it still hurting? He goes, yeah, it really is. And I go, well, you need to tell your mom. And he's like, no, I don't want to bother her with that. I said, no, you need to tell your mom. You need to go to the hospital. Go now. And I didn't hear from for probably 2 weeks or something. And I was hoping and praying he did go to the hospital, and then came back. He said, well, I really appreciate you telling me to go to the hospital, because if I didn't, my appendix would have burst. So, as a streamer, we have responsibilities, right? And I remember that day specifically because I really didn't want to stream. There's a lot of time commitment in streaming. You want to set a schedule. You want to be at that schedule at the same time, just like a TV show. It has to be on, so viewers know that you're going to be on. And I didn't have really a schedule. But he was always coming on when I went in. But we have a responsibility, for the community. Whether you're Christian or not, we love you, and God loves you, and we want the best for you. So impressive. A man washing dishes from Wisconsin. Yeah, I know that's what they fell in love with me on, and I just didn't think of it. Just, hey, I'll help out, and they were busy, and yeah, it was very expensive. I remember seeing the bill. I went, what am I doing? Why am I spending this much money? I look at them like parables. I actually met. Okay, hold on. So how would you introduce? Oh, I already said that. I actually met Blessing Boat through VR Church. Remember you wanting them to stream for you? Not sure why. Actually, they did. DJ Soto was the first in VR Church. It's now VR MMO, I think. And I did talk to him through, I think it was Cheddar's or somebody else. And we did have him on a while back, actually. I'm trying to get the whole archive of people that have been on. So with this new website, we can, share with everybody who was on. But we're not there yet. But he was on, and I was kind of disappointed because I wanted him to do VR, and I don't think he did. Or maybe he did. No, he was in Rust, and he had a church on Rust. Yeah, and then he built a church, but the problem with it, as I found out actually just recently, is they couldn't keep it up because they would have to wipe out the church every 2 weeks or something like that. But I did go to their services. It was pretty cool. I mean, I liked it because it was on. I didn't like VR chat. That was like a cesspool of. I mean, if you can survive VR chat as a Christian, I mean, if you're out there for witnessing, it's awesome. But wow, there are some wild personalities out there. And I know he had it in VR church. He had it in VR chat. And what I liked about it is he didn't actually have to have a VR helmet or headset to be able to go to it. So I attended his church a couple of times. It was kind of cool. Let's see what else. Do you understand the culture of VR chat? Yeah, it is definitely a wild culture. I know there's another pastor, I can't remember his name, but he's actually out there witnessing to people all the time. You have to be pretty strong in your faith. I'm not saying that I'm not. It's hard for me to understand some of the people that I did talk to or that came up to me. I mean, they are friendly, which is kind of cool because they want to meet people. But man, they tell you your life story, and you're like, whoa. I'm not a pastor, I'm a preacher. So if it's your gift, oh man, this thing is driving me crazy. I would do it, but just like anything, there's a lot of people and pastors that I've talked to that will play. What is that game? San Andreas. You know which one I'm talking about, right? I can't remember the name of it, but it's really bad where you can pick up hookers and do other things. And anyways, there's a lot of pastors that are, witnessing to those people. There's other police officers that are real police officers that are retired that are playing that game. And I just don't want to really put that game into my household. I think there's a lot of negativity in that game. GT5 or whatever it's called, 1926. But you understand the culture. That's cool. Yeah, I know. I've heard he's done some VR. I have a VR headset. I got that actually when I was with Christian Gaming Development Conference because we developed a VR game. It's actually out there still. I can't remember the name of it. It's on Steam. You can look out under Christian Gaming Development Conference to find it. But it was like a... Man, my mind is just blank here. It was where you have a tower kind of battle type of thing. So you would be up on a tower and you would have to destroy the enemies, which were anger, malice, envy. I think it was Ephesians, something based upon it. And you would have to destroy them by throwing blocks at them to destroy them as they came in waves. But you also had to protect your castle. So you would have other workers that would build up like a wall, but they would kind of tear down the wall. So you had to go all over the place trying to make sure that they don't do that. So it was pretty involved VR game for a community that is of volunteers. I think they did a phenomenal job, but they gave me a headset, which I was really surprised by. It was 2 years ago now, and I helped them, test it and make sure everything was running perfectly, or at least to the standard of what I think most gamers would want to play. So, and I was also helping them with some marketing and exposure to what we're doing. So that is my, I guess, my world in VR chat. And I did do VR chat, or I didn't do VR chat with it for a while. And then I said, I just want to kind of play games on VR and, maybe, stream it. But that was a little bit more difficult than I thought, because not all VR games, you can actually have the window so you can see the chat. And I remember playing, it was a mountain climbing game. Oh my gosh. It was great. But man, you got to work out, you had to basically climb up the mountain. And I'd like to go back to that, though. That was a lot of fun. I did buy the game and I still have it, I think. But yeah, VR, the problem with VR on streaming is you don't get the same effect, right? I mean, the people that are on VR, they're like, are watching on streams, like, big deal. Looks just like a regular video game, but it's not. I mean, those who have a VR helmet or a VR set, they know that it's all around you. And you can't obviously show that on a 2D screen. So it's really difficult sometimes to put a stream that is made. Now, there are some people who are really good, and somehow they can show that of what you're actually seeing on the VR stream. So if you guys know how to do that, I would like to try it. I mean, I think that mountain climbing thing was really fun. Maybe you get big enough, you could do a Blessing Boat cruise. Yeah, I was thinking of that too. Because a lot of people think it's actually a cruise. They said, "Oh, I thought I was signing up for a free cruise." I'm like, no. It is free, but it is a cruise. We're on the streams of of Twitch, but no, it's not a real boat. But yeah, I mean, it'd be cool, if this thing expands and we rent a boat or something, a charter boat for Blessing Boat. That'd be kind of cool. It's whatever God wants, we're just doing little by little. We've had a lot of challenges, obviously. Almost every time that we go on live, there's always challenges. And I'm not technically adept. My partner, Tony, is. But like I said, he had problems. Oh, man. I got to keep my hands away from this area. This is annoying. And I'm going to have kind of an interesting conflict coming up. We're going to... Later, my wife needs to be picked up, and I don't know how I'm going to pick her up when I'm doing this. And I can't do it because our guest, Pastor Dutzen, is on. I mean, I can do it sort of. Oh, come on, they're not going on now. But I don't know how to. I mean, she's only like 10, 15 minutes away, but if she's not ready with my son, it's going to be a problem. Okay, I don't know. It does not like me right now. Light, come on. You need to go on, otherwise I'm going to be in the darkness here. I need a new light fixture. I'll bring light. We got him here. I should have picked one up. All right, there we go. We're back. GTA. I should interview Bobby. Well, I guess I can give you a little hint of Bobby. So I guess you guys can ask me a question and then I'll answer it. Bobby, I'll make sure Bobby's out here. Hey, Bobby. Bobby. Five Lucis wants you to talk to everybody here. Bobby. Where is he? Hey, Bobby.
Yes,
Come in here. What are you doing?
I'm playing a game.
Well, stop the game. The people want to meet you.
Do they really?
Yeah, they really do.
Okay, I'm coming. Just give me a second.
All right, so Bobby is my other sidekick. He comes in once in a while and we have conversations. All right, so Bobby, Five Lucis says, Bobby, how does it feel to be on the Blessing Boat?
Well, I haven't been on the Blessing Boat. I've been playing. Didn't you just hear what I just said? Anyways, no, I like Blessing Boat. I know Warrior has been doing it for, man, a long time, over 4 years now. That's that's like a lifetime, isn't it? Anyways, I'll look into it. I'm looking right now actually, but I don't actually participate except when he brings me in on his streams. This is the first time I've actually been on Blessing Boat. I do appreciate you asking.
Any other questions you have for Bobby? He's only going to be here for a little bit because we got our next invited guest, Donnie Dreams, coming in. If you guys like what we're doing, go ahead and go to our website. We have Ko-Fi there. You can donate. Any amount is helpful. It doesn't go to me. I mean, it does go to me, but it also obviously goes to Blessing Boat mostly to improve the website and other things that we have planned this year. Hopefully we'll have it all going and running. What do you guys think of the website too? I mean, I actually put a lot of work into it on Saturday. It doesn't look that much, although I kind of like it. I've had a couple problems here and there, but make sure you visit your sponsors. We're hopefully going to list all you guys who've been in Blessing Boat as an archive. We're trying to, obviously see if we can put all the videos together that we've had over the years and put them on during Blessing Boat when we're not running. Because I think we got enough content to fill it for 24 hours or for at least I think you can do it on a weekend for 48 hours, but obviously you got to say that it's recorded, and I don't know how to do the moderating of it. So, how was your trip to Europe? Oh, yeah, that's true. Bobby, how was your trip to Europe?
It was fun. It was a blast, man. I would like to be there all the time.
Really? Why?
Well, we went to a lot of different places, and it was fun.
Well, what places did you go to?
Well, I know we went to Paris, because that is in Europe, in France, actually. And we actually walked up the flights of stairs to the top. And it's a lot of work, even for a little boy like me. But we got to the top and we took a lot of pictures.
Really? Well, why didn't you tell me that? Oh, you didn't.
Oh, you didn't ask.
Well, I'm sorry. I should have asked. All right. So you had fun. I want to see the pictures. I want to see you exhausted on the stairs.
I wasn't exhausted on the stairs. It's just when I got up to the stairs, I was like, that was a lot of work. And then, of course, going down the stairs. But they have elevators too, but I think we took the stairs, so everything worked out. But it was beautiful, looking over the city and seeing all the little ants, kind of going on.
Ants? You mean people?
Well, yeah, but they're ants when you're way the heck up there.
I gotcha. All right. Well, we'll have to talk to you about that on my stream sometime in the future. So I have to take out some pictures and see where you went and what you did. Because didn't you go to New Zealand too?
Yeah, I went to New Zealand. I went to Australia. We traveled a lot, and it was fun. And I can't remember why did I go. I have a blank in my mind. Where did I go? I can't remember. But anyways, you better get going and get Donnie Dreams. You gotta get him an invite, otherwise he won't be showing up here.
Yep, you're right. I will do that right now. Thank you, Bobby. Have a good day. So, oh boy. You got a clip, Chovy. What animal is Bobby? He's actually a human. He's a little human. Yeah, I'm old, so you probably have never heard. Well, you've probably heard of Howie Mandel. He did a program back in the late 80s called Bobby's World. And it was, I think it was him when he was young. I can't remember if he was 5 or 6 years old. But he would basically be kind of the Dennis the Menace of the new age. And for whatever reason, I watched it and I liked it and I picked up the voice. Although some people say I sound like Golem or Schmeagle.
Candace precious, my precious.
So the Woody the Woodpecker.
No, 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 no.
My son actually laughed like that for a while when he was born. It was so cute. I think we have a recording of it too.